All right, welcome to another plog. Nate was
Clog.
dying to do this with me, and I was like, all right, I guess we could squeeze you in before the
Right.
year ends. He's just begging me. He's
Yeah,
like,
I'm
can I
sure you're
please?
so busy.
Yeah. He's very
Yeah.
busy and he's been begging me, can you please do
I
this
think
with
I
me?
think
So
every time I've done one of these, that's
yeah,
your opener, right?
yeah,
That's your
yeah.
opening line
Well, it's
is
true.
I've been begging you to do
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry. Do you want me to not tell the audience the truth? I don't know what you want. Uh are you ready for New Year? Are you ready for 2022?
Um I'm ready for COVID to be over. So if 2022
Yes,
brings that, then that'd be
I
great.
know. Oh my God. And I kept telling, so my friend Adam, I'm telling this now because I hope he'll never watch this, but I hope he does. I've been saying Omnicron with an N,
Oh, I
probably
did
like,
that for like a day.
okay, okay. I probably did it like 30 times before he called me out on it yesterday. Cause I was like, yeah, this whole Omnicron thing, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to be like, I was always decently careful. And
Right.
I'm vaccinated and boosted and all that. But I was mentioning you know, that variant, and as we all know. And yesterday he's like, it's not Omicron, by the way. There's no N. I was like, oh, I really heard it as Omicron.
You're just
Omicron.
gonna still call it Omicron? Is that your
I
thing?
guess well, I've been saying
Yeah, don't
Omicron.
give
It
up.
just
Just keep
feels,
saying it.
it sounds like a super villain.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I didn't even know it was part of the Greek alphabet. I think most people didn't.
Oh, yeah. Well, I thought Delta was Delta because it came from, I honestly thought this, it was like based in the Mississippi Delta. And like they were like, that's
Oh,
where it started and spread. And then with Omicron, I really wanted to say Omicron. It just flows better. I thought that I thought that's when I realized, sorry, it was Greek letters. Right now we all know Greek letters thanks to this.
yeah, I know. It's a great learning opportunity, but I'd rather not learn this way, I
That's not,
guess.
hopefully before Z, it's
Yeah,
not
I
as
think, well,
prevalent
I
as
mean, the
I
other thing
think.
is that they map them all out, right? Like, so they continue to, like, that's why there's a gap between D and
Mhm.
O, right? There's probably more letters in there. But because they keep finding them and labeling them, and then it's only when they become like a source of concern or something that they,
That's why we had Delta, then a lot of whatever the
right.
Greek letters were between, and now we're on
Yeah.
Omicron.
Yeah, but I'm ready. I mean,
Uh,
I don't think it's going to be over. I think the funny thing is at the very beginning of all this, I remember people were saying, of course, people were like, "Oh, it's going to be over in a couple of weeks. Like we just do lockdown for 2 weeks,
yeah.
and then everything's
Oh,
fine, right?"
little did we know.
I joked all the time. Oh, this is going to be years, right?
Uh-huh.
Like half serious, half expecting it to take a while, but like it never really sank in what
Yeah,
years of this would look like. So
right. I know. They're like, there was a little glimmer of hope in the summer because I visited my friend in
yeah,
Seattle, same friend Adam. Shout out Adam. He's not going to watch this, as I've said. And we went into Trader Joe's and didn't have to wear masks. And it was like, whoa, this is actually, I think, finally taking a turn. But it was that sweet spot between vaccinations and
right.
Delta, like before Delta. And there's this little window in July, and it actually looked like, oh, this is going to be improved. But here we are.
Our dreams are crushed.
Yeah. And they even canceled, you're on the East Coast, you're near NYC, your favorite
Oh,
city.
did
And
they cancel
I
it?
think they canceled, well, they definitely canceled like the live,
Right.
most of them, like doing the live. And I don't think the countdown is happening this year with like people crowding, especially with the spread that happened in New York, like, people
Right.
crowding Times
Right.
Square. And
Yeah.
I
Well, I
think
mean,
that's
New York
not
is
happening. Yeah.
it's spreading very fast in New York.
Yeah.
And like every place outside of New York too. I think I mean, it seems different though. Like this time around seems very different in that before, I mean, I heard of people getting it. Like I know some people that got it like earlier, but now it's like almost everybody I know is getting it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
So
it's
this
just,
one, this one's scary
yeah,
in a
and it's
way. I
happening
mean,
so
yeah.
fast. Like I just, the other day it was like 3 people tested positive that were together with on Christmas, and yeah, it was just a bad situation.
Did you,
And like they're all vaccinated too.
right. No, that's what they were saying for this one. Did you
Yeah.
test yourself lately?
So I haven't. We have some scheduled for Friday because I ran out of like at home
Oh,
tests because I kept
right,
testing everybody that was like I feel sick, so I kept testing them. So I have all these like
right.
records now on my account because yeah, work gave me like this little tester kit thing that I can
Oh, that's
use, which
nice.
is nice. But yeah, so I haven't tested myself since Christmas, but kind of a little afraid to. I don't know.
Well, you might be asymptomatic, but if you can still
Maybe.
taste and smell, there's at least that. That's like
Yeah,
a
I think I
sign that
can.
things are okay. Yeah. There's like complaints going into Yankee Candle. I was just reading. Because people are like, my candles have no scent. And they're like, you probably have
You
COVID.
probably
They
have
tell them,
COVID.
yeah. That's how people were finding out. Well, yeah, hopefully 2022. Let's just hope.
Yeah,
Hope
that's
is the key
every
word.
year.
Hopefully, things
It's gonna be
calm
like
down.
2067, and we're gonna be like,
because I know, and I mention this
rockers.
every time we talk too. You're probably dying to visit me in person. So,
Sure, let's call it
like
that.
that's been a delay.
That's-
Like it's probably felt like a long time since. I know I feel that way when I with
Yeah, of course. Yeah, let's.
hate you a lot. Okay, so let's kick this off. I'm totally copying a podcast I watch, Inside You with Michael Rosenbaum. Great podcast, inspired my videos for this. So I'm like, let me continue to copy him. He grabbed a Family Feud card to kick it off.
You're not gonna get sued or anything. That's not like IP.
He's a nice guy.
Copyright.
I have his and I have his, and he's a Family Feud card. I mean, come on. I have his autograph, so we're buds.
Oh, okay.
I paid for it. It was $35 for a mug, but
you sure it's not printed
friends.
on there?
No, he actually, and he does say he does sign it, and you could tell it was with like a silver pen on a black mug. I would go get
cool.
it, but it's yeah. He was in Smallville. Did you watch Smallville?
No,
ever. It was like out in 2001. It was just when I started college, so probably like roughly the same for you.
I was 8 years old.
Yeah,
I think I just started watching TV.
Yeah. You know, it's funny, that actually makes sense because we're 10 years apart, and it's disturbing at that era of time.
Right.
But not as much anymore because now you're 28. 9?
Yep.
Yeah.
8, I think. Yeah. Yes.
Wow, don't lose track yet. I'm allowed to lose track, but not you.
I mean, I feel like every birthday after 21 is just not exciting anymore.
So. Well, in your 30s, it really does become a really big mix.
Yeah. Oh, I'm dreading the 30th birthday, which is just in 2 years. Well, it's because, like, you know, everyone says your 20s are like the best time of your life, right?
You know, I actually would honestly disagree with that because I think in your 20s, you still don't know a lot. And even in my 30s, I still don't know a lot. But things become a little more, it's like Dr. Phil says, it's so clear to me. In your 30s, more, honestly.
Yeah, I can see that.
20s is a little bit still like, there's still some immaturity there. They're still trying to impress people a ton. And that finally goes away a lot in your 30s. You're like, I
already feel like that's slipping away. Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm settling into like who I am and what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. Well, I'm telling you, you'll love 30s. Embrace the 30s.
It's getting a little comfy. Yeah. So
yeah. No, it'll be good. And like I'm nearing 40, and I mentioned that in my last thing with Kenny, the last great video where we made a great gingerbread house. And
oh yeah, that was great.
Yeah. And then he's like, just own it. Just own it. It's okay. And I was like, no, it is. And I made a joke. I want to clarify this for the, no viewers I get. I was really trying to egg him on with like, because I'm near 40. I said, well, we're not in our 40s, but it sounded like I was anti-40s. I am not anti-40s. Let me make that clear.
Yeah, because you're going to be,
but it sounded
soon,
that
so you
way.
have to, you got to,
and I am,
a little bit,
I fully own that. You'll love your 30s, believe me, because things become even more like, I don't care what people think. I don't need to impress my friends. I don't care that I have this, and this, and it's great.
I better get some friends then to not impress for my 30s. So,
well, I keep telling you, you have me, but you keep kind of like, throwing that out as. All right. On that note, here's the Family Feud question. Top answers. Name a decision people make that will affect their entire life.
Having kids.
That's number 2.
Oof. No, am I supposed to keep guessing?
Keep guessing. See if you can get most of these. There's like 8.
Getting married.
Marriage, number 1 answer.
Marriage.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That'll usually determine the having the kids. Usually.
Right. Decision. I mean, I guess they're careers, right? Like
that's number 3. You're doing great.
Man, I'm crushing it. How many are there? Do I have to guess all of them?
Yeah, you try to get. I mean, but you're on a roll. Like, what are their big decisions? There are, I think, 8. I haven't counted these, but
where to live.
Where to live. That was the last one. That's a big one. Okay. I feel like that should be further up.
Yeah.
But yeah, survey says. college education was another one.
Oh yeah, I mean, I feel like that fits into your job, right? Like what you do for a living.
Not 100%.
Oh, that's
I
true. That's
studied
true.
film and TV. I'm not doing
Oh
that,
yeah, that's true.
except through these great channels. Please subscribe. Comedy channel also, Jay Brent Productions. Quick plug. Nate's in it. Great channel. I mention every time
Am
you're
I?
with me.
Okay.
Yeah. Hello. You
I
did
just
some
I
of the
just don't
sketches with
check.
Kevin.
So
It's a funny channel. Nate's missing out. It's great comedy. It goes above a lot of people's heads. Buying a house
eh,
and
I
retirement was
guess.
above where to live, but I feel like where to live, that's going to be most of your life compared to
Right.
like your retirement. So people are dumb on these surveys. That was
Yeah.
the answer. Thank you for
Also
playing.
retirement. I mean, I guess it's just so far out. I hope.
Do you hope?
Well, actually, wait, no. Actually, I don't
think a
hope.
lot of
It'd be
people want to
great
do
if I
that
could
early.
retire right now.
I
I
think
don't
you're
know.
thinking of
Actually, I've
death.
read a lot of stuff. That's
It's
true.
like,
That's true.
yeah.
I kind of, you know, to be honest, I kind of just blend the two together in my head, so it's a little
You shouldn't
difficult
though.
to.
That's why like we should have a longer retirement time.
Well, ideally, yes, but we're
Yeah.
Americans, so
I know. We should do a whole thing on that.
yeah, being
The
American.
healthcare system,
Yeah, we should.
taxes.
There's a lot to talk about there.
How there's like any form of socialism, a social, it's just like that's
Yeah.
you've killed the thing,
Social
even
benefits.
though,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway, yeah.
But so I'm part of this like subreddit where people talk about retiring early, right? Like,
Yeah.
and how to get there. But then there's all these stories of people who do retire early, right? In their like even late 30s, 40s, whatever. And they kind of have this like weird feeling of now what? You know what I mean? Like a lot of them, because all their friends and they're like
still working.
Right. The
Yeah.
people their age are still working. So then they have all this free time that they can't really spend with their friends. And so they kind of go stir crazy. A lot of them end up like working in some capacity, but just I guess not for the money, which is kind of nice.
That is understandable. And when I had my 9-month period of unemployment, it was kind of nice to just slow down a little. And I was still doing this as a hobby, this type of stuff, and then the comedy channel. But that still didn't take a ton of time. And that was also based on, like you said, all my friends were working during the time. So I took like solo hikes. I read a lot. I know you're not into reading, but that's what I did. At least you weren't.
I'd like to be into reading. It's
Yeah.
just every time I pick up a book, it's like, man, there's all this like information that I could get in a much more efficient fashion.
Well,
by either.
No, and that's probably for nonfiction. My sister actually got me back into fiction because I thought like I'm just going to read useful nonfiction and finance, and this it's stuck far behind. This book that I'm reading now is really good. I love this author. Quick plug: The Midnight Library. Matt, I think it's pronounced Hag. Great writer. He had anxiety and depression. He writes essays too. So for anybody with those problems or
Midnight
living with
Library.
that. Anyway, this woman has a bunch of life choices. It's great. He writes well, like modern, I'd say, because the chapters are short.
Nice.
It's not like reading a book from the 1800s. It's exactly what we said. Like if you made different life choices, what would that life be like? And she's like going through that. She kills herself almost in the beginning. We'll find out. And then she's in this
spoiler
medium. Well, that's at the beginning though. And then she's in this like medium place type of thing. And she has a bunch of, if she did this, if she married this person, if she pursued this. It's actually very interesting. He throws in philosophy in here. It has anxiety and depression too, which he writes essays about, as I said. He's one of my favorite authors. And it's all because my sister was like, you should read a fiction book or like give this guy's essays. Because I was reading just like how to make money, how to,
the
very
tactical.
Yeah. And I'm back into fiction now because it's like it's more interesting for one. And like they do throw in things that still help with thinking through things.
Yeah. Good plug. I'll check it
but
out.
Anyway, I can see we have so many great tangents because we're such good friends. So like our conversation does flow naturally.
Right. Yeah, that's what
but
we're not coworkers anymore. So I guess friends is.
I still can't believe that. I don't know if we mentioned this in a previous plug, but I'm gonna say it now that like I can't believe, and we were friends at that, but we became friends pretty quickly. More my doing. I think if I kind of let you off on your own, you probably wouldn't have like tried.
Yeah, but that's true of like
with anything. I could see that. Yeah. I could fully see that with you. But you told your sister, I was like, oh, hold on, I'm talking to my coworker, and this is like at least
but
maybe
we did,
a year into our friendship.
We did work at the same company, so
I know
it wasn't.
There's a distinction. There is a distinction.
Yeah, I see that.
And you said your coworker, and I think we were a year into being friends, and I was like, I thought we were friends, and you kind of laughed. And
I guess what we are now is ex-coworkers. So
Good Lord. Well, we'll see. We'll see when you're dying to visit, like I said.
Okay.
Anyway, to your point, yes, it is understandable. I think if you loved what you were doing before, like really loved it, yeah, it'd be very hard. If you were kind of like me, where you're doing something a little different than very different than what you thought you'd be doing, it's easier to be like, okay, I'm gonna take some time to like visit places. But like, especially if you are single like me, I guess even if you're with somebody, that person's probably working. It's you really do have to kind of fill time solo, and that could be understandably like hard. And I can see why you do like side projects, because I was kind of doing those too. Anyway, understandable. But I think there's some like it's okay too. Like you figure out what hobbies you like, or if there's a thing that
I
brings some
already
money
know what my retirement hobbies are going to be, so I'm set.
Oh, well, what are they?
Video games.
Well, obviously, yeah, making them or playing them.
Mostly playing. And that's about it. Actually,
That's it.
I'm looking forward to the day where maybe I could break the addiction by binging a lot. You know what I mean? Like if I do it enough to the point where
I thought you had that opportunity. I have to admit, anytime your wife wasn't, when you're living out here, if she wasn't in town or when she hadn't moved out here yet.
Oh yeah,
you would usually tell me like, no, I can't come over because I got like things, but it was obviously video games.
Yeah,
that wasn't enough. Because
no.
I think you had stretches. Okay.
Oh yeah, I mean, it would be like weeks at a time where I would just.
And you had like you had the gamer chair, which you're not sitting on right now, but you had.
No, I'm in my nicer chair now, better for my back. But no, I think if I had to do like months of that, I think maybe I'd burn myself out, which is probably a good thing. But yeah, definitely not like a week or something. Actually, just the other day, I was supposed to come home early from seeing family for Christmas because we had a contractor that was going to come start some work in our basement, and he ended up pushing it back. But I still wanted to come home because I was actually going to be the only one home for like 2 days. Right. My plan for those 2 days was literally to just not sleep. Yeah, it's bad. It's definitely an addiction.
That's an addiction. Yeah.
But then, things changed when people started testing positive for COVID. And so we dipped out of there real fast. And we both came home. And, she was super nice. She was like, all right, yesterday, I think that was yesterday. She was like, go ahead and, play, do what you need to do. So I think I spent like 6 hours, like in a stretch playing. And she thought that was like, a lot and like getting it out of my system. And I told her, if you weren't here, it would be easily triple this. Like I wouldn't sleep. It would just be like 16, 18 hours nonstop. Yeah.
Well, what will stop you from that is even hitting your 30s. Although I've never been good at all-nighters, so maybe you'll last longer in that regard. But
yeah, I used to do them all the time.
Yeah, but
I mean, in college I used to sleep. I guess it's not really an all-nighter when you're doing it every night. So yeah, but you just sleep during the day, right? Like
okay, that's true. Yeah, sounds great. Definitely not a problem. I think I only have like a few questions today because we're having such a great conversation anyway. A little bit with, I guess, kind of like continue. I did a New Year's chat with another friend of mine. Like, what are you doing for New Year? Like resolutions or goals. But it's kind of along that. And it's also just how to deal with stress in general. So you might have answered it just now, but what's the best way to deal with stress? You'd say you're like video games or
Well, actually, so that's how I deal with it, but I don't think it's very healthy, right? Like honestly, I don't think it helps all that much. It's not like I walk away at the end of it feeling like less stressed. A lot of times I just like whatever's stressing me out, I just forget about it and like lose myself in some game, but then it's still there.
You don't like actually confront it.
I don't confront it. I don't solve the issue, which isn't healthy.
Right.
I feel like when it came to work though, it took me a long time to realize that work was stressing me out. I honestly thought that I was like, and I think it was just denial, right? Like, this doesn't happen to me, right? Like I hear about other people being stressed about work, but that's not affecting me. It took me a long time to realize that the late nights, the like just meeting after meeting after meeting, like being in 13 meetings every day was really
Right.
getting to me.
Oh yeah.
It was just draining at the end of the, I mean, it got so bad that actually last year, um, I got nodes, I guess is what they're called, right? Like little nodules on my
Yeah.
vocal cords. And it got so bad that like I literally couldn't talk for 2 weeks.
Right.
And so in those 2 weeks, I still had to go to those meetings. I was still in those meetings, but I was like typing out furiously in replacement of me talking. Um, but then it was soon after that I realized, okay, something has to change, right? Like I had to figure out what was causing the stress. And I just talked to a lot of people who had been in my shoes, I guess, and mentored me through the situation. But what I realized is like, I always wanted like everything in my career to happen like boom, boom, boom. You know what I mean? Like I always wanted that promotion, that next level or whatever. And so I like fought for it and just kind of like kept going, kept pushing. And I realized that I didn't need to do it all at once, right? Like that
Right.
maybe because I hear all these stories of people being burnt out in their 30s where like
Yeah.
literally they have so many problems in their life because they burnt themselves out over work. They're working 80, 100 hours a week and they
Right.
just like,
It's not healthy at all. Yeah.
right. Yeah. Their health goes to crap. And then,
Yep.
yeah, everything, they don't have any friends or family, like connections are terrible, and they just
Right.
prioritize work over it. And I was told myself like, oh, I'm not going to be that person. Right. But I was like slowly like falling into that trap.
Yep.
So I physically told myself like, okay, I need to stage this in my career, right? Like part 1, part 2, part 3, what I want to accomplish. And then just chose one part to focus on for now, and like actually working less, right? Like saying no to
Yes.
things, changing my position, changing my, I had a team that I managed and I gave that up. And I said, I want to, go back to being an individual contributor. And it was a hard decision because I was like on this track, I felt like, where I could see the next promotion, right? I could see the one after
Right.
that, but I kind of just jumped off of it because I actually realized I didn't think I wanted that next one. So yeah, I don't know if it's a very roundabout answer, but
No, but I think that context helps because so many people do that because they'll tell themselves they set expectations for themselves that really they're the only ones pursuing it
right.
heavily. And it's either to look good. The money does help a lot too, but it's also just like a kind of an ego thing.
Yeah.
And you don't realize how much you're on this like hamster wheel and stressing yourself
Yeah.
out. And again, how bad it is for your health until you stop and either have like you do a doctor's visit finally and realize there's like high blood pressure, or you're just actually aging more quickly because no
Right.
one's meant to work that many hours a week anyway. I'd love
I
to
think I
do a
definitely got
thing on
gray hair
that.
from that.
Did you? Okay, see,
I
yeah,
think I
I'd
definitely
love.
like I mean I I looked in the mirror like the other day and I noticed like a bunch of like gray or like
How do you have gray? Oh,
yeah. So
still have
I
hair
don't
though.
know if
That's
it's
good.
like
Yeah,
from the stress or like I mean my dad went gray pretty young too. I
yeah.
think in his 30s. So I just might be following
No, I
my
think it could be that it's like genes, but definitely stress too, for sure.
yeah.
Then, like you said too, I think other people have to make you aware of where you're like, I think you're
Yeah.
stressing yourself out. Because when I talked to you once in New York at the office, you were super stressed, and I don't think you saw how stressed you were or realized.
No, I definitely did not.
And I was telling you like you need to slow down, like you're pushing because you're really pushing hard for like the promotions.
Yep.
And
Yeah, it
sometimes you need an
was
outsider to tell you that
yeah.
you're,
And
yeah,
multiple, honestly. Like I think,
yeah,
it's easy even to like your closest friends to be able to say, oh no, like, it's fine. It's fine. I'm
right,
almost there or something. But having like multiple people, especially people, who are maybe your superior or like, superior adjacent or something in the
mm-hmm.
organization telling you like, you need to change something. You need to stop doing this. Then
Yeah,
I don't know. It's really an eye opener. Because like you think I don't know, you think like every step that you make in your career has to be better. You know what I mean? Like
right,
everything has to like push higher, push, more
right,
money, better position, better title, more people under you. And when I realized how, I don't know, I just kind of stopped and thought like, okay, I've been at this for 6.5 years now. Um, that compared to like a 40-year career is a drop in a bucket, right? Like
right,
that's
for
nothing.
sure.
So like I
And
can't
can you
keep
do it
doing
for
this.
40
Yeah,
years? Yeah,
I can't
exactly.
repeat
Yeah,
this over and over and over again for 40 years. That's insane. So like I need to stop, chill out, relax, enjoy where I'm at, right? Like
right,
enjoy the position that I've gotten to instead of like trying to push for the next.
right.
Um, so yeah, and now like I mean the past year has been really great, honestly. And I've worked the least amount I have honestly since I started my
That's
job.
good because you were doing a
But I feel
ton.
like
Yeah.
it's still been as effective or more effective because I've changed that mindset really. So
Mm. No, that's really good. It does take like time to realize that. And I was kind of doing the same thing. Well, like really trying to, I mean, promotions come with benefits too. It's like on top of like an ego thing, there's increased pay, which is always nice. But there's a trade-off of like more responsibility or higher expectations. And then you can continually like burn yourself out. And it took me like a combination of seeing a therapist, which helped me a lot with realizing I had like anxiety that was pushing me even further into like, I'm so stressed, I can't do this anymore. To even like understanding to just step away. Like I'll literally just, I get
yeah,
so bogged down with like a work thing. And sometimes I catch myself even now. It's like, this is really stressing me out. I'm like, in the grand scheme of things, this is not
right,
that
yeah,
big of a deal or important. And to literally step away, take a walk, um, walk in nature is always good. Like actually seeing trees and stuff, going on a hike is nice, but I can't always do that. So even just taking like a neighborhood walk or going to a park can help clear your head,
yeah,
and help me a
yeah.
lot. And I kind of do this on and off. I've tried meditation. My mind goes, and it makes me realize how much my mind is going like a
Yeah.
mile a minute with
Yeah.
thoughts. Because even when I try to slow down and just focus on breath or like focus on like a beach or like a calm like visual, it's just still like I want to do this, I want to do it. And I need
Yeah.
to like try to learn to slow down. But it's
I should
understandable.
learn. I should definitely learn that
It's
because I feel like the way that I work is that I go and go and go throughout the day until my brain's so exhausted I can't think
no,
anymore. And that's when I go to sleep, right? Like I have
I
no
just
ability almost to like
right.
purposefully slow down.
I just did a presentation to my team on brain breaks, the importance of brain breaks, and they do help a lot. Like you shouldn't work more than, I think humans can't focus for more than an hour anyway on
Yeah.
anything. And technically, like for doing knowledge work, 4 hours is the max. So maybe one day we'll get there with society, but it's an 8 hour work day. But you should get up, you should definitely move around, do a change of scenery, which like helps
Right.
reset yourself. Versus you'll reach like full burnout. I would definitely, I hope out of this today you try
Yeah.
to remember to take a step out, and away. And then meditation, I think like honestly, have your like home device play ocean sounds. That's what I do. Just
Oh
tell
yeah.
yourself and
That's
take 5 to 10 minutes. That's it. Try it for 5 minutes at first. Whoa, I breathed in weird. I was like, it's not that you won't gasp when you do it.
I
Try it
hope
for
not.
10 minutes. And um, I mean, there's guided ones too that helps you with breath and stuff. I tried
Right.
guided as well. I don't not like guided, but I find I just kind of like to just put on ocean sounds and fully like just not feel like I have to do anything.
Yeah.
And it helps so much with blood pressure, and you'll realize how tense you are. Like when you're at a computer, you're just like hunched intense, and like your heart, you don't realize how much your heart rate is accelerating with these certain work things, and like to take
Yeah.
the step away helps a lot.
Well, honestly,
So
there's certain games that
some
I
tips.
avoid because I realized that like afterwards my heart rate is like
Oh
super
yeah.
high because it's like some intense like I used to play like a lot of shooter games and yeah they get like super intense and then I realize how worked up I get over it right like
Right.
between actually playing the game and then people being toxic to each other in
Oh,
chat or
yeah, I
whatever.
can definitely see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
should
So
try
then
these other
I realized like
things.
I don't need this in my life honestly like it's more
Right.
stressful than rewarding. So
So maybe for actual like stress deconnecting, don't do video games. Yeah. Try
probably
these other
not. Yeah,
tips.
that's
Yeah. But it
yeah,
really stepping away helps a lot. And like take 5 minutes to even like, especially walk, or sometimes
right.
I'll throw in a quick 5 minute exercise, like jumping jacks, and I just kind of like, I know that gets your heart rate going again. So if you came from an intense thing, don't do that necessarily, but just something stimulating and different. And
Yeah, I like it.
it helps a lot. Right. Speaking of like this year, is there a habit you'd like to break? A bad habit?
Bad habit. Well, I mean, we talked through one of my very bad habits, ad nauseum. Um, Habit I'd like to break besides addicted to video games. Um, that's a good one. What's your habit?
I mean, mine are pretty bad, and people would agree with these. I definitely like, and these are like things I just do. Like I crack my knuckles too much for sure. And like my neck and back, like I could probably crack it now. Let's see, get some ASMR. Do you hear that?
Oof. Yeah, I did.
It's not good or natural. People are like, how do you crack your neck like that? I'm like, you don't want to be able to, something's wrong. And then like, I mean, I will burp and fart a lot, but funny, it's a hard one, but I definitely do that. And then in terms of actual other bad habits, I do, and this is part of my anxiety. Like I think of worst case scenarios for a lot of things. I'd love to be able to not have worst case scenario thinking, and I'm trying to work on that. But I tend to like go for this is not going to work out, or this is going to be go this way. And that's part of like anxiety too. But it'd be nice to be able to control that a little more. And so I try to even write out what I think is the scenario. And I've been doing this other, I need to do it again. There's this other, so that's another question I had. It was like, what self-help book did you put down before you finished it? And it was this guided, like you go through your anxiety and worry, like a workbook. And you write down, is it really that bad? Like what you think, what do you think would happen? So I feel like going to that question too, like continuing to use that would help. And then it'd be good to break that habit on top of these, the physical ones. I mean, they're partially comedy, you know, the farts. I mean, come on. But that would be it. I just thought of that just now. I didn't think of that before this. Like that would help me a lot. Not worst case scenario thinking.
Yeah, that's a good one.
No.
I mean, while you're, I also tangential to that, I feel like my bad habit is like I get bored really easily. I mean, you probably know this, right? Like
no, the main time I witnessed this, the main time is when we went to Target together.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
I don't remember.
I could spend tons of time at Target. But yeah, you
was I getting quickly. Like just bored?
You're just like, yeah. I think I was looking for a gift for someone. It might have been for like a birthday or something. You were with me. And you're like, are we done? Are we done? Like, and I was like, wow. I know you couldn't be in there for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You don't remember this.
I don't remember that now. So what I realized, I get bored really easily, and tied into that, I am very selfish with my time, which I'd like to work on. Because like I think of like if I'm just running errands or something, right? Or doing chores or something that has to be done, right? Like I'm constantly thinking about what else I could be doing with that.
Yeah, time. I do that too.
Which is, I don't know. It's a very wrong way, I think, to look at it. So I'm like constantly, literally my entire day consists of me trying to optimize my time, right? Like I'm trying to think about, oh, this will, you know, if I do it in this way or do it this fast or something, it'll take me 10 minutes, and then that's 15 minutes, that's 20 minutes. And then, you know, then I can get to what I actually want to do, which is just feed my addiction of playing video games. So it's like, yeah,
it's getting back to that.
Yeah. It's like, but like even in, you know, work or something, I get bored to the point where I just want to drop it because it's not new anymore. Right. So if I like even join a new team, I feel like I've in the past couple of years, I've worked better on this, but it's something I'll just continually need to work on. But there are times where I jump to a team and like, I start working on something, it's shiny and new. I'm really excited about it. And then the next week I'm bored and I want to quit. Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then it becomes a cycle, right? Like of me, like attempting to find like new things that keep my brain stimulated. And I feel like, honestly, it all goes back to like me, like playing video games, getting that instant gratification growing up, forming those like fast connections in my brain to the point where that's what I seek, right? Like I seek that fast rewards instead of like the slow rewarding ones, like relationships or like fulfilling jobs or whatever, right? Like
over time too, these things happen
over time. Exactly. So it's just something that
coworker becoming a friend.
Yeah, exactly. It's just I know that it's like it's coded into my brain so it's just really easy to like default to accepting that like instant
Mhm.
gratification. And so I just need to constantly work against it. And
Yeah,
like honestly, it makes me fearful for like my kids, right? Because I see these parents, like I know it's easy to just like hand them a tablet or something when they're like crying or fussing, or
right.
you need something to distract them for like an hour. Um, but I think I see this happen for kids that are like 2 years old, 3 years old, and like I'm not one to judge, but I think this is honestly like it started for me at
Taking it.
probably around that age of just like accepting that instant gratification. It really changes your brain, right? Like there's
Oh, it
tons of
does.
like research studies that are going on of showing how this is actually like changing and rewiring people's brains. And these kids, like these shows and stuff, like they're just like they change animation so quickly. Like I
I
can't
know.
even make sense of them, right? It's just like a
It's
lot of noise, a lot of color, like just so much stimulation.
right.
It's just insane that like I don't know that like that seeing that day after day for a kid, I think it's just so dangerous. So I don't know how I'm going to, as a parent, navigate that balance of like, you know, not necessarily finding a distraction, but at least like keeping them busy through like the boring stuff or the errands you have to run or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, like not rewiring their brain to be what I guess mine is, honestly. Like,
Well, and it's not just you. I think even with phones and the internet and
yeah,
everything, we're so used to quick answers to things, and everything's quick. And like even with like Netflix and everything is just
yeah,
like you get it right away. So no, I wouldn't even say for a video game playing, it's just generally you always want the quick solution. And then like you said, that's not always the case, especially for anything actually meaningful. So
right,
that is I think a lot of people our age would need to work on. Even when I'm in like a store, I'll tell myself like, "Oh, I wish I had control F for what I'm trying to find on
yeah,
the
right,
shelf. And like my eyes don't do that. And it's like, well, it's okay to like take a second and like you said, enjoy moments that are you have to do these chores, you have to do
right,
these things. To answer the chore thing, I will say I usually try to play music, and that does help because
yeah,
it's like Mary Poppins says, to every job that must be done, there is an element of fun. You
there
find
you
that
go,
fun and snap the job's a game. Well, that's not really fully a game, but music helps a lot. If I'm like doing dishes or the things I'm like, this is not fun to do,
right,
or like making my bed and things like that. Try to make it like a little rewarding too, so it's not just the thing. But I have to be better too, actually, about like this is what I'm doing right now. That's okay. This is the focus. I
right,
have to be better about that too. Because I usually think that there's other things I could be doing, but you know what? We're not doing that right now. So
yeah.
why
I,
spend energy worrying about or thinking about that? Yeah.
yeah, I feel like one of the things I started doing is kind of tied to my diet as well. Like when I started going down this like whole foods plant-based path. I'm not like I still eat meat and I still eat crappy junk food, right? But I'm trying to like make sure my core diet, right? Like what I
Mm-hmm.
go to day after day is based in like good food. And so when I started down this, like I would see on the ingredient list of like the recipes that I picked out, stuff I've never even heard of before, or just like things that I honestly didn't think my grocery store would stock.
Yeah.
And it took a long time of first off like finding the right aisle where some
These
random
things
like
are. Yeah.
ingredient like jackfruit is, right? Like if you want to, you know, have some sort of replacement for like pulled pork or something, you can
Yeah.
use jackfruit like spread apart. And like finding that was almost impossible the first time. But then I started reading labels actually, like while I'm at the grocery store, I'm like reading labels. And if I'm looking at like sodium and sugar intake and stuff like that,
Mm.
and making sure that the ingredient list is like stuff that I can read and understand instead of
Yeah.
like a bunch of scientific
Chemicals.
terms. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and that has honestly helped in shopping too, because like I used to, I mean, I
Just
still,
grab
it's
stuff.
a chore, right? Yeah. And
Yeah.
I used to just grab stuff, but now it's sort of like a learning opportunity, I
Mm.
guess, is
Oh,
like
yeah.
I
Yeah.
go through the aisles.
Yeah. Put it that way. And it's a really good point too with that. And it makes sense. And um, why so many Americans have health problems and
It's honestly like
the
the
meat
first thing I
consumption and
noticed.
yeah.
Yeah. The first thing I noticed when I shopped like all Whole Foods for, um, you know, grocery trip is the amount of aisles dedicated to junk food is insane, right? Like
Oh yeah,
I
it's
only shopped in like, we have like a health section,
yeah,
which is like 2 aisles in the grocery store, and then the like refrigerated section. So I basically shopped in like 3 to 4 aisles, and there were like 20, and
right.
all of them were filled with like
And it's like the chips and the,
Doritos. Yeah, it's
yeah,
just like the candy aisle. It's like, it's insane how much is just dedicated to junk food. And I mean, I see what I used to buy, right? Like the aisles I used to shop in and
right.
what I do now. And it's just, I mean, it's night and day. So, I mean,
Well,
it's
that's
just
good.
easy to,
You're yeah, and you're eating way better than I mean, I made a big improvement after I had my uh high cholesterol
oh, yeah.
and high blood pressure and everything. So I made like some improvements, but you're definitely doing better than me. But like you said, you don't realize, and I do read labels now more often, but how many like grams of fat, how much sugar, how much sodium is in so many, especially like processed foods. On the
Right.
flip side, the hard part for me is my produce goes bad quickly too. So it's a real tough
Yeah.
balance. I'm like, well, time to throw out those 3 bananas again.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
it is better to eat that way. Yeah.
we suffer from the same thing, I think. I mean, like the worst part is like you get half the ingredients that are like fresh produce, right? And then
Yeah.
like you keep telling yourself you're going to make that meal, but when it takes 45 minutes to an hour and you're just like, then I have to clean up afterwards,
Right. Yeah. See,
you
it's all
start
that too.
reaching for the easy stuff. Yeah.
And this is why we have to be patient again. It would be funny if this was like a Coke, as we were saying.
Yeah.
It's just sparkling water, but it would have been funny. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
people need ice. Like, I'm working on that. And it's like a full Coke. Um, all right. We'll end with just one question because we had such a great conversation. There's no
Always
need
do.
for multiple questions. But I guess also going along with everything we've said, what cliche saying is actually meaningful to you?
Cliche saying is meaningful. I feel like I don't know a lot of cliches, or like I mean,
Mhm.
I guess I just don't memorize them.
Well,
I don't
I can.
remember a lot, to be honest. So
Do you remember me?
I think so.
Yeah. Well,
Jake, is
you
it?
must you must not remember me because you're talking to me now. Uh, I'll tell you mine because I thought of this before. Obviously,
Okay.
I'm able to cheat. Maybe it'll help inspire you. Mine is don't sweat the small stuff,
Don't sweat the small stuff.
and it's like
I
what
like
I'm
it.
still trying to do because it's like I said earlier, thinking worst case
Yeah.
scenarios are like I need to do, or even with the work things like we said, or whatever it is. Take a breath. There's only, like only so many things actually have a huge impact on
Right.
society and the universe, and whatever you're worrying about probably doesn't. I need to remind myself that more.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
I
it
mean,
really doesn't. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think it could go both ways though. Like I think that, you don't necessarily want to minimize your problems though. Like, your problems could be real
Oh,
problems,
true.
but
Yes. Don't
I
sweep them
think,
away. That's a good point. Yes.
right.
Like, yeah.
But I think to your point, one of the things that I actually really like about working at a big company, um, that I don't give it enough credit for, is that I could leave and things still go on.
Oh, yeah.
Everything still functions, right?
Yes.
And that's something that I really, really like. Like
Yeah.
I think that's actually the single biggest reason I keep telling myself, oh, I want to go to a startup. I want to go to a startup. Right. And like, I feel like I could do it. And it's a challenge to myself. And, my work's going to be more meaningful. But honestly, I think what I'm searching for is more ego than anything, right? Of just
Hmm.
like saying, I did it. I was
To say you
successful
did
in
it.
this hard
Right.
thing. Right. Um, and then to give up that huge benefit of like, I could walk away. Like I see my dad answering like phone calls and emails on Thanksgiving, on Christmas, right?
Oh,
Like,
yeah. Yeah.
and just being in that environment of like always on, always
Oh,
working, and missing out on like his family, time with his
right.
family. And that's so against what I want to do that
Yeah.
I really enjoy working for a company where like it doesn't matter if I'm there
Right.
or not,
Yeah.
which
You
like it
don't.
sounds like it minimizes your job, but honestly it's freeing just being able to
Yeah.
walk away and things
Yeah.
still go on.
Absolutely.
You're not as like I sometimes I think that I'm like more important, like, oh, if I walk away
Yeah.
from this it's going to fall apart or something. and then I
Yeah.
do, and it's still
People will say that.
move on. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear people say that a lot too. They're like, well, if I ever left, there's no way. It's like I hate to tell you, like, not
Yeah.
I hate, because you
You're
should
not that
relax.
important. Yeah.
It'll go on.
Yeah.
Someone will fill that spot. And companies think that way too about you. You don't
Right,
need to
yeah.
think like, I can't ever leave. Like, they'll never know what to do. And
Right.
you're right, it does. You definitely don't want the thing that adds up, like missing time with people, or like you're missing so many holidays. Because
Right.
it's only come around once a year, and you should have that. If you can break away, enjoy it. So I
Yeah.
guess yours would be, even though it's probably, I don't hear this saying that much, but something like, you're not as important as you think, or something. It'd probably be yours.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like that, because I don't know, it's humbling in a way.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a big deal on this channel. Other than that, well, this was a really good discussion, as always. Thank you for doing this again
With an ex-coworker. It was really great.
With a
to see you
great
again, Jake.
ex-coworker. Didn't you think was it you that thought my name was Jonathan? I know you call me Jonathan. Maybe
No, I mean, Lindsay mostly calls you Jonathan, just because she likes filling out full names where they might not actually be full names.
Right, where they don't exist. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot if it was you that didn't know my name. It was not Jonathan.
No.
Yeah, but at least you knew that.
It's John with the Jon, right, without the H.
Right, totally. I actually like the name Jake. Let's just go with that too.
Okay.
I'll take the name Jake.
Jake from State Farm.
From State Farm. Exactly what I was thinking. What a great campaign. But anyway, thanks for joining. Don't hang up just yet, because I'll make sure I say goodbye to you in real life. And for anyone watching, please subscribe to this and the comedy channel, which again, Nate is on. Some great stuff up ahead, to Kevin's dismay. Some more great stuff coming up next year. So tune into that too. I'll put the link right here. They always do this. The link right here. Or like this.
I feel like I need something to plug. Maybe I should increase my presence.
You should. Either on YouTube or Twitch. Do it. Do it, Nate. You can do it.
I don't need that.
If it's a creative outlet, you can do it just like this. Wow. I have a Zoom light, or like a light for, it's not a Zoom light, but for video conferencing up here, and it just blinded. I looked up at it and it blinded me. On that note, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.